Our experience would be that for a lot of non-European men, they tend to go into self-employment because they're not being successful. Never mind getting jobs, because we always say, you don't do a CV to get a job. You do your CV to get an interview. Your interview gets you the job, right? Your CV gets you the interview, then the interview gets you the job. But they're not getting the interviews, much less the jobs.
The barriers and obstacles do differ between migrant workers who come here and for other people who come here, possibly refugees or people who have protection needs. Sometimes if somebody wishes to have a qualification recognised, for instance, they may not be able to contact their country of origin or the university in the country of origin because it may not be safe for them to do so.
When we come here with our qualification, they don't regard as much. I try to apply for certain jobs, which the jobs are like, when you get there, they will tell all stories.
For self-employment, the Galway City Partnership provides support services for those seeking self-employment, and a significant number of non-EU immigrants have opted to go into self-employment. Many seem to be satisfied with this, and they see it as a flexible option to them.
Yes, I just want to ask, how would your services differ from the LES?
I work for Galway City Partnership, and we are divided up into 3 sections. I work for the section Services to the Unemployed, and what we provide is information and a scheme for people that wish to set up their own businesses. We offer a scheme called the Back to Work Enterprise Allowance Scheme, which enables people to keep their social welfare for 4 years while running a business. Many of our target groups would be immigrants. As long as they have been on a social welfare payment for 2 years or more and have their stamp 4, then they'd be eligible for the scheme.
Okay. Your service wouldn't have much to do with those seeking regular career jobs outside business, for instance?
Not really, but I could refer them onto the local employment service. We work very much on a referral basis. The first thing we like to do is to encourage people to do a start your own business course with ourselves, especially for people that are non-nationals, because it's very different to running a business in Ireland as it would be maybe, for example, in Africa. So we do encourage people to go on an 8-week training course. Then if we feel their business is viable, they can then go on the Back to Work Enterprise Allowance Scheme, which enables them to keep their social welfare and some of their rent allowance. We also provide mentoring, accountancy training, computer training, and there's a small grant of €600 that they can apply for towards the cost of their business.
There's also a need to create avenues where those seeking employment get support beyond the generic tutorials on setting up your own business. Some aspects of eligibility to access services conflict with immigration policies. The biggest difficulty, however, is accessing finance, credit finance from the bank, as most immigrants wouldn't have a credit history and for that reason are unable to be rated by the banks.
Did you seek any kind of advice or support from any agency, any state agency?
Oh yeah, I got a letter from unemployment that there's a course that if I would like to attend, and I went for that course, for that 6 weeks course. That is a self-empowerment. Okay. So that you can stand up on your leg, like if you want to do your own business. So it was 6 weeks course, which we went through. Then within the course, they asked, when we finish that course, what are our plans? Are you going to go for a job or you want to start your own business? So I told them that I want to start my own business.
I went to Galway City Partnership just seek advice how to go about starting your own business and how to, raise from fund if there's any need for that and things like that. So, and also using the necessary avenues like the internet and information as the enterprise.ie and things like that. So that's how I started.
Now, what were the major difficulties in setting up, and what are the difficulties also in running the business as it is at the moment?
Yeah, beginning it was kind of tough. I don't know where to start and I don't know where to go, So I sit down, I said, okay, I have got all these things. I've got equipment, I've got a van, I've got this. So what is left for me to do? So I took a bold step and I started running up site to site.
There's the lack of transparencies, and the information that you're being given will be one of the bottleneck for this. Because the information, sometimes you need to really know what it means. The wording sometimes might be different from what it actually says, and until when you go out there and then you find out. And also the fact that the aspect of the banks, because we're just new into the country, your credit rating has to be, you have to have the point score for the credit ratings to be able to avail the necessary funds and that kind of thing. And then unfortunately sometimes the bank, they do look at it as high risk, and then the level of the APR might be a little bit too high.
Yes, and that is a huge issue for people that are long-term unemployed, trying to get funding from the banks. We have two different types of schemes. First of all, if the person is in the credit union and save regularly with the credit union, social welfare will go as a guarantor on a loan of up to 6,000 for the client if the business is viable enough. Okay. Also, there's another organisation in Dublin called First Step, and it was set up by Norma Smurfett, and they provide low interest loans for people that are long-term unemployed and wish to set up in business. Yeah. Although they do ask for a very detailed cash flow and business plan, so they would want to have a very good business idea and be sure that they would have customers from it.
Okay, and those two ways have been quite productive?
Yes, they have, absolutely. They've been, especially the First Step, the organisation from Dublin, they've been quite supportive to people. And then they provide ongoing support to the person in business, such as mentoring, support, advice.
So the First Step now, what sort of range of loan or facility?
They offer loans up to 25,000, depending on the type of business.
I tried bank, it couldn't work. And I went to back to work scheme, and they said the social worker, the unemployment people will give me €1,000 for a support, and Go Away partnership also. I called for 600, but up to now I haven't got that money yet because they asked me to. There's no money, there's no funds for them, so they told me that maybe this year, somewhere February. I should put my application in. Okay. So that's the support I got from the unemployment. They support me with €1,000. Okay. Yeah.
Okay. More information is needed on alternative credit opportunities as the First Step in Dublin would provide.
After they've set up, for instance, would there be any follow-up kind of support services? Because definitely they'll be learning, as they start the business.
Yes. Well, I would be there as a support network for them, so if they had any queries, they could phone me. If they had problems maybe with advertising or marketing, we could appoint them with a mentor, which is an experienced businessman or woman who can offer advice and maybe steer them in the right direction to help their business.
Okay, I just wanted to ask, what kind of supports would you give them regarding issues of regulations? Or with the regulatory bodies concerning the sort of businesses they are doing, because most of them trade, for instance, and there would be issues within the community where people that are not registered to do business are actually undermining the effort of people who come to actually register and do business or self-employment.
Yes, most people, the whole idea of the Back to Work scheme was to encourage people from working in the black economy to go legitimate with their business. So anyone that comes into me would have to be registered. They'd have to be running the business properly. They'd have to register for tax, register their business name. People that are running their businesses from home and that aren't registered, unfortunately, wouldn't have a lot to do with us. Social welfare, that's where they could be in trouble, is from social welfare. And this is what has happened to people. They're running a business from home. It's not legitimate. and social welfare are catching them and they're being cut off their monies.
Okay.
Well, I say with regulating body, I think there should be a lot more to be done for the especially my own business, which is the transport business, which will be more of quite a lot of range of things that have to do with in terms of how to set it up and the funding aspect as well too, and the ongoing support and training and things like that, which is very important. And also, most importantly, the difficulty that we encounter. There's also a lot of issues with regards to the customers that needs to be tackled going forward in order for us to have a much better service, to provide a much better service in the community as a whole.
There's also a lot more opportunities to be explored for those with an interest in creative and performing art. However, people need to go and knock on doors to identify issues that call for possible intervention for improved access to opportunities in this sector.
Would there be any kind of support in that area, because there are quite a few who are, previously in the talent area?
Yes, and there would be no more funding available for people in the arts, but we would always try and encourage them to go to the Arts Council, or maybe to the local arts officer here in Galway City Council. So the Arts Council would be the main funders for anyone in the arts.
Okay, so
but like an actor or a filmmaker can go on the Back to Work scheme. We would have had a girl on the scheme and she would have received 20 to 30,000 from the Arts Council to make a documentary. So she had that funding to make the documentary, but she still needed the Back to Work scheme as a running income coming in. So anyone you know that wants to set up a business if they're living in Galway City, to come in here.
on the whole, do you think you prefer to be self-employed, or would you rather have a regular job? I mean, personal opinion.
I personally myself would rather want to have my own business and grow into other things as well too, rather than doing whatever, because I believe in that self-motivation to own flexibility to do that, to own a job and to do things and to employ people. I mean, I just believe in that actually.
What advice would you have for those wanting to start up their own business?
Well, I say they go do what they must do. They must not relent in their effort. They must continue to believe in their dreams.
Be truthful, faithful to yourself, honest.
If you don't have a dream, then you won't have any ambition to pursue what you want to pursue.
You need to have a focus. In this business, like if you're not so friendly, you might lose a lot of jobs, So you need to be friendly, communication likewise.
What they must do also, they must be prepared to go and seek out for the information. The zeal has to be there to them to make it, to be a successful person in what they want to do.